Welcome to Impact Makers Radio, featuring industry thought leaders sharing problem-solving insights to help grow your business and live the life you love. And here's your host, Stewart Andrew Alexander.
Hi, and welcome to another Let's Talk Retirement conversation. And during this segment of the show, ladies and gentlemen, I am so pleased that we finally have Charles, or as he's commonly known to his friends and colleagues, Chuck Privitera, Senior Consultant at Westminster Consulting in New York, New York. Now, Charles, an experienced leader in the area of retirement planning, will be talking to you today about diversity and inclusion issues with workplace retirement plans. So, my question to you, dear listener, is, are you one of the increasing numbers of people approaching retirement age in the New York area? Well, if so, you just might want to stop what you're doing. Take a break even. Get yourself a notepad and pen and get ready to take some notes as we listen in to what Chuck has to share with us today. So, with that said, he's a very busy man. Let's not keep him waiting any longer. Welcome to the show, Charles.
Thanks, Stuart.
You are so welcome. So please forgive me if I interchange between Charles and Chuck. Okay, we all know what we mean, all right? So briefly then, Chuck, in your own words, describe the kinds of people who you serve and the various types of situations they find themselves in when they reach out to you for your help.
Sure. So generally we serve corporations, companies that have a 401k plan or retirement plan benefit that they offer to their employees. They come to us when they are concerned about the benefit for the employees is getting stale, or maybe there are investment issues, or maybe they have engagement issues where their participants are not putting enough money away, things like that.
Right. So it goes without saying then, Chuck, that anything you share with us today from this point on is not legal advice or legal assistance. It's purely for the purpose of sharing information. Can we both agree on that then, Chuck?
Yes.
Absolutely, right. So with that said, when you think about those people who you help, what's the most common misconception you come across while you're working with them on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I think many people tend to, and it's either the employees or the people participating in these plans, or even the companies that offer these plans. And it's been an industry issue where people have tend to focus on the importance of selecting investments. Now, that is important, and it's something that needs to be done and done diligently. But the problem with people facing retirement here in the U.S. is not a problem of quality investments. There are plenty of them out there. The retirement plan world has done a great job of reducing fees and getting those down to almost next to nothing. The problem, so the big misconception is, it's not about the investments. It's about the fact that people aren't putting enough money away.
With that in mind, and keeping your client's confidentiality in mind, Chuck, please share an example or a case study, so to speak, of how you have helped, or even how you would go about helping somebody who came to you with that challenge, that misconception you just described. And yeah, what kind of transformational results you were able to or would be able to gain for them.
Sure. So we have a client in Midtown Manhattan that had 3,000 employees. They came to me and they said, we'd like to look at putting in a program to help our employees repay their student loan debt. And when I asked them about that, I said, where did this come from? And they said, it actually came from our Diversity and Inclusion Committee. And what they found out, and what we helped them with, is we did a little homework. And what we recognized was that the portion of their population that was burdened with student loan debt was largely African American and Latino or Hispanic. What we recognized, because of the fact that they were burdened with student loan debt, they had less discretionary income to contribute toward their retirement savings. What the company then realized was, if that's the case, they are likely not taking advantage of the company matching contributions. And with that being the case, they recognize that we now have a diversity and inclusion problem here. We have a segment of our population that, because of either the color of their skin or their race, has overburdened with student loan debt and therefore is not getting the full benefit of our contribution to the retirement plan. So what we did was we talked to them about engaging those participants and understanding the importance of retirement, and also having a conversation that if they absolutely needed the company's assistance to help defray the cost of their student loan debt, the company would be willing to do that, recognizing that the company can divert the dollars that would have normally been contributed to the retirement plan had they been participating. So this has actually worked out great. It's shown the employees of the company that there's a commitment to diversity and inclusion at the workforce level. It's shown us as a consultant that there is a there when it comes to differences in the way people save and what may be barriers to people saving for retirement, and that we have to address the fact that somebody's race or skin color may affect their ability to contribute, and understand how we have to engage those participants.
As a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, my guest today is Chuck Privitera, Senior Consultant at Westminster Consulting in New York, and is here today talking about diversity and inclusion issues with workplace retirement plans. Now then, Chuck, with that in mind, and for those people who are listening in right now, please share one common unknown pitfall that they need to be aware of, no matter what situation they find themselves in.
Well, again, I think it is taking the focus off of who's got the best investment or what the quality of the underlying investment is, and focusing on the amount of money that I'm actually putting away for retirement. And I think that's been the most common problem that Americans face today in saving for retirement, is that they focus too much on the fees and the funds, when, while those are important, the best funds in the world aren't going to get you anywhere if you're not putting enough away.
So, Chuck, I'm kind of curious, how long have you been a senior consultant?
So I've been working with corporate retirement plans for 23 years. Okay,
so it goes without saying then, Chuck, that successful retirement planning can mean different things for different people, right?
Absolutely.
So with that said, when you think back to all of those people who you've helped over the years, especially the ones who you've helped to create a transformation, the kind of transformation they were looking for when they initially reached out to you for help, on a deep down personal level then, Chuck, what does it actually give you and how does it make you feel?
For me, personally, what gets me up out of bed every day is that the work I do helps people retire with dignity.
Right.
So I've walked out of many meetings where we've helped someone change an investment that really isn't life-changing. It's going to have zero impact on the outcome of the retirement. But when I've explained to somebody, we've just put into place a process by which you'll be able to continue to contribute to this plan, add a little bit more each year, and retire with an extra amount of money that could pay for all of your health care in retirement, that could be that down payment on a beach house, that could be the boat that you're looking for. When you do things like that, those things are life-changing. And those are the things that when I can walk out of a company and say, we've made those kind of changes here. You're taking a benefit that was just kind of a blah benefit and turning it into what it really is for the participants, and it's, why they're working and their life. And that's important to me.
Thanks for sharing that with us, Chuck. It's always great for the listener just to get to know a little bit of the personal side of our guests. So we're really appreciative of you spending a short moment explaining that. So while we're on the topic of speaking about yourself, could you then just, share a little bit about your backstory, your formal education, and especially your experience as it relates to the topic of retirement planning?
Sure. I think so. I graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in Management Science Economics. I did spend a semester abroad in London studying the same. I have spent over my career acquired certain securities licenses and things like that. But I think the most important training that I've had is certainly on the job. But most recently, I studied for and acquired my Society for Human Resource Managers Senior Certified Professional designation. That's a SHRM SCP. And Stewart, what that's allowed me to do is have more of a focus on the human resource side of retirement plans, and that's really on less on the financial side, less about the investments, and more about engaging the individual and making sure that every individual has the opportunity to be in control of their destiny when it comes to retirement.
So when it comes to diversity and inclusion issues with workplace retirement plans, what final thoughts would you like to leave the listeners with before we move on to our last question for today then, Chuck?
Sure. I mean, the most companies spend a lot of time trying to figure out the investment story. I think if they take some of that time and address issues like diversity and inclusion, recognizing that if we have a problem with retirement and retirement savings in the U.S., it's going to be a lot worse for the folks that fall into, the protected classes that I'm talking about. So to take part of this time that you're spending on focusing on who's got the best investment and focus on the participants and who's actually engaged in the plan and where you need to do the work.
So it certainly sounds like you're doing some really important work out there. And so if there is somebody who feels that they need to know more or, they want to know more about diversity and inclusion issues with workplace retirement plans, what would be the best way for them to reach out to you then, Chuck?
Well, I mean, certainly there's a phone number I can give you. That's 917-270-3685, and I am on LinkedIn and I post regularly. Not difficult to find there.
Fantastic. We've got a website and an email address as well then, Chuck?
Sure, absolutely. It's C and my last name, which is Privitera at Westminster-Consulting.com.
Fantastic. And I'll also ensure that your contact details are on the website beneath your show. But for now, Chuck, we are out of time for today. So let me just remind you once again, ladies and gentlemen, we have been listening to Charles Chuck Privitera. Thank you so much for sharing so generously with us today, Chuck. You have certainly demonstrated hands down, without a doubt, that you are a true educator, advocate, and trustworthy advisor for your clients' success. So thank you.
Thank you, Stewart.
You are so welcome, Chuck. And I'd also like to take a moment to say a huge thank you to you, the listener. Yes, without you, we wouldn't have anybody to speak to. So thank you for joining us on this insightful and informative discussion with one of the top consultants in the New York area today. Again, his name is Chuck Privitera. Make sure you do check him out, give him a call. He shared his email address, visit his website. They have some fantastic resources on there. So whatever you do decide to do after listening to Chuck for a short while today, I am certainly convinced that you're going to be in good hands. So that's it for today, folks. Again, I'm Stewart Andrew Alexander, and we'll be back shortly with some more leading retirement planning professionals in this, our series of Let's Talk Retirement Conversations. So, until then, take care, have a great day, and we'll talk real soon.
Thank you for tuning in to Impact Makers Radio. To listen to all past, present and future industry thought leaders and trendsetters, visit us at impactmakersradio.com.